Happy Thursday! Today we're going to be looking at graphing lines part 1, which means we're doing graphing lines part 2. Let's take a look at our bell word questions here. So you needed to find the slope of a line passing through the two given points. So remember, our formula to find the slope of a line is y2 minus y1, which is the change of y over the change in x, x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to label these right here. These are all my x1s. These are my y1s. These are my x2s. And then my y2s. So I put my y2s on the top, minus my y1s, and then my x2s minus my x1s. So for number 1, our slope wound up being negative 10 over 12. But if you remember, we have to simplify our slope, so it would be negative 5 over 6. For number 2, we wind up with negative 9 all over negative 18, which gives us positive 1/2. Positive 1/2. For number 3, we wind up with 12 over negative 9, and that gives us negative 4/3. And then here for number 4, we wind up with 0 all over negative 14. And I hope you know that gives you a 0. And if you remember, 0, when you have a 0 slope, you have a horizontal line. So this is a horizontal line. Well, today we're going to be moving on to a new skill, but before we do that, I just want to give you a reminder that on next Thursday, October 3rd, so a week from today, you're going to be taking your approaching proficiency quiz. And then Friday of next week, October 4th, day before fall break, you're going to have your 10-question benchmark on polynomials and equations and inequalities. And then you will have the assessment for this EL after fall break. So today we're going to be learning about graphing from slope-intercept form. And you're already watching this video, so you've already clicked this link. When you are done with that, if you still need to complete your intercept scavenger hunt, you're more than welcome to do that. Make sure you get it done. And then finally, we just have 2 practice papers that we will talk about here in a little bit. So today we're still working on approaching proficiency skills. We're going to be graphing linear functions given an equation, numerical information, or verbal model. We're going to be breaking this up into 2 days. So right now we're looking at skill 4, which is on page number 3, back page number 3 of your green packet, and it says skill number 4, graphing linear functions. So a linear equation forms a line when graphed. Linear equations may be presented in a variety of forms, but all can be graphed, and there are several methods for graphing them. If you can't graph it, it's not linear. So the first method we're going to look at today is making a table of values. So what we do from our table of values is we plot the points on the coordinate plane and then draw the line. But the big kicker here is try to pick values for x that will give whole number values for y. It'll make it a lot easier for you when you're graphing. We're going to find at least 3 ordered pairs to ensure accuracy, but today we're going to work with 4 here. And like I've said before, when we use a table, I like to start with 0 for x to make it easy on ourselves. Well, 0 times negative 1/2 is 0, and then we're left with y equals negative 3. I'm not going to plug a 1 in there because 1 in a fraction makes it a little sticky, but I am going to plug a 2 in there. So 2 times negative 1/2 gives us negative 1. And then negative 1 minus 3 gives us negative 4. Now, I'm going to pick another even number since I have a negative 1/2 fraction. So let's go with 4. 4 times negative 1/2 gives us 2. Negative 2, because it's a negative 1/2. Negative 2 minus 3 gives us negative 5. And then finally, let's plug in positive 6. Positive 6 times negative 1/2 gives us negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 gives us negative 6. So I've got my x and my y pairs here. So I'm going to come to 0 for x, and then I'm going to go down to negative 3 to plot my first point. Then my next coordinate is positive 2 and negative 4. So I come down here to negative 4. And then I have positive 4, negative 5. And then I have positive 6, negative 6. I'm going to connect my line here. And then since I'm in slope-intercept form, I know that the number in front of my x is my slope, negative 1/2. So I'm just going to check on my graph. And I go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. So I did it correct. Yes. All right, let's look at the next method right here. Method 2 here, which is on the same page on your packet, right under method 1. So method 2 here is graph from the slope-intercept form of a line y equals mx plus b, where m equals slope and b equals the y-intercept. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to graph from our equation. The first thing you need to do is you need to rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form if needed. But looky here, your equation's in slope-intercept form. Remember, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So our first step is to plot the y-intercept, and I look here at my equation, y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept is 3, and I'm going to make it in the form 0, 3 as a coordinate. So I'm going to come over here, and I've 0, and then I'm going to go up to positive 3. So I've plotted my y-intercept. Now I need to find my slope. And remember, my slope is right in front of x when I'm in slope-intercept form. So my slope is negative 2. And I'm just going to put a 1 under it so I know to move over 1. So I start here at my y-intercept, and I go down 2 because it's negative, over 1, down 2, over 1, down 2, over 1, 2, over 1. And then the opposite direction, I'm going to go up 2, but over 1 this way. And then I connect my lines. Mine's a little crooked. Hopefully yours is a little neater than that. All right, so that's all we're going to look at today. So your goal right now is you're going to complete the intercept scavenger hunt. Now, we've got 2 worksheets that are linked here, but the substitute teacher has paper copies for you so you can work on them. The big thing though you need to do is you need to get as much done as possible right now. You'll have a little bit of time tomorrow, but you also have several IXLs you need to get done. And the worksheets will be due on Monday, and you don't want to have homework on the weekends, so please make sure you get a lot of work done. The first worksheet you're going to look at is you're going to be graphing using a table of values here. So you've got your equation, you've got a couple parts of your table, so you need to plug things in. If you're given an x, you're going to plug it in for x and solve for y, and then you plot that. And if you're given a y, you're going to plug that in at y and solve for x. And then the other worksheet is graphing using slope-intercept form, which was the second method we looked at. And all you're given is you either need to write the equation because you're given the y-intercept and the slope, and then you're going to graph it. Or you may be given the equation, and you may have to say what the y-intercept and the slope is, and you have to graph it. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out via email, and I will get to you as quickly as I can. Have a good rest of your Thursday. See you tomorrow.